Audi has just dropped the Competition Plus package for the RS5. This doesn't increase any horsepower, but it gives you a more aggressive suspension and a louder exhaust with some stickier tires, and the price for this is $16,000. But is it a better design than the 2012 RS5? In my opinion, I really don't think so. And in this video, I'm gonna let you know why. Up top, we have the most beautiful RS5, in my opinion. This is just such an elegant and timeless design because it's so simple. It was designed by Walter de Silva, which done a couple of cool cars in his career, and this is definitely one of them. I love the fact that we have the front graphics having this upper limit with this line right here. So we have the headlights going into the grille and then having that as sort of a stop for where the graphic stops at the top point. And in addition, that also creates this beautiful line up top that stretches from one point to the other, emphasizing the width a little more. And then we have a simple graphic in the grille here, which doesn't complicate things. They kept things very simple, and that is, in my opinion, what makes a timeless design. And in addition, if we go further down in the graphics here, we have this line as well going into both of these air intakes that stretches all the way down to the bottom of the front end, and then this silver piece at the bottom, which is kind of typical Audi, I guess, starting with the RS5, I believe, and then we have it on the RS3 as well. It's a silver front splitter that acts as a foundation for the front end graphics. I also love the fact that these are just simple intakes with a nice curvature to them and a nice chamfer line right here that kind of frames the intakes in the front end. Now, having a look at the current RS5, and when you compare these two, I think this is when you can see just how complicated things got with the current design language of Audi. We can still create cool lines and cool new graphics, but we need to keep some sort of line flow in this, and I don't think we have that here, specifically not in the way that we have in the 2012 up here. So we're gonna have a look at this from the front and then also the side to show you just how similar these actually are in proportions, but they're still very different when it comes to the front and the graphics. The rear is a little better, which I'm gonna show you in just a second. The grille here in the front end, it looks still pretty simple, but the problem that I have with this RS5 is that it becomes too complicated. And one really good detail of that I want to point out is this piece right here. Why not just keep this a simple air intake that stretches all the way across here and not have this Lamborghini style cut in the black graphic right here in the corner, because this is such a key graphic, and I think this just makes this piece look weaker. It looks like it's kind of a structure that needs to be in there to support something, to not have it crumble and fall apart. To me, it doesn't add anything. Instead, it takes away from the beauty of what the RS5 is, but that's just my opinion. And we don't have the same kind of line that cuts off the graphics up top here, because now we have an angle on the headlights. I don't think the new RS5 is an ugly car. I just don't think it's a good of a design as the original RS5 up here, and I think it becomes pretty clear when you put them side by side like this. So let's have a look at the side view, because I want to show you here just how similar these are in the proportions. If we put out some key lines here, for example, the greenhouse right here, and then we have the shoulder line having this typical quattro line, which means that they go up a little bit, just a tiny bit over both axles to visualize graphically that it is a quattro. And then we have this baseline at the bottom here as well. So these lines, they are pretty much the same on the new RS5 right here. You can see we still have the quattro line going up a little bit and then straighten out and then going back up over the rear axle right here. But it became more complicated because they added more things, more lines and more styling to this design. And look at the front view, just how clean this surface is right here, and then look at the lower part in the new version. It becomes a lot more complex and complicated for no apparent reason, but it's still it's still a good looking car. But I do wish that Audi would have kept it a little simpler in the new version of the RS5 and not overstyled. It's not overstyled. I would say it's probably overstyled a little bit in the front end with this piece down here, but other than that, it's a clean looking design. Now looking at it from a rear view, this is also pretty interesting because I think I prefer actually the new version when we look at the rear view. There's nothing complex going on in the rear, but there is a lot of complexity going on in the front. So I want to have a similar style to this in the front end as well, with very simple graphics and horizontal lines. For example, the taillights going in the same line as this trunk lid right here, and also a simple bumper that's integrated in the body. And you can see that it kind of flipped or inverted this diffuser. So in this case, the 2012 version, it goes in here at the center, but here it goes up on the sides and then down in the center, which is okay. It still looks very, very cool, and I love that they kept the tailpipes on as a symmetrical feature here on both of these cars, and even going into the 2023 model year. One thing I love about the original RS5 or the A5 in general is what they call the nail tail or the nail end or something like that, and that is this little ducktail that we have in the rear end. This to me is such a small detail, but it has a big impact on how you perceive the rear end, because it gives it more of a confidence in the rear end. And I'm also a big fan of these taillights and just the simple design of them. I remember when I first saw the A5 coming out in 2008, and I thought it looked like a solid unit, and that's because we have this line here connecting the entire car, all the three boxes that we've been talking about. So we have the rear box right here, and then we have the middle box right here, and the front box here. In my opinion, the A5, or in this case the RS5, it looks like a solid unit, like everything is connected in a beautiful way, not just graphically, but also with this big B pillar right here, or C pillar in this case, that we have in the new version as well. Another thing I want to mention in the rear view here are these wheels. These are probably some of my favorite wheels from any manufacturer of all time. I just love the way these look, and they suit the RS5 perfectly, and they actually look bigger than what it is. I believe these were 20-inch, but they look like they fill out the wheelhouse in a very nice way. I also like this new style of wheels, but as you can see, as with the front view right here, it got more complex. The front view got more complex, and so did the wheels in the 2023 model too. Before we end the video, I just want to show you some sketches, some beautiful sketches of the original A5 when it was under development. And here you can see just this little detail that they call the nail spoiler. This is, you know, this line, it means maybe it doesn't show that much in the production car, but it has a tremendous impact on the send-off of the design, and actually having that confident rear end and a confident stop to the rear end. Here it looks like it's a little bit more pronounced than it actually is in the production car. If you look at the rear view right here, it doesn't look as sharp as it does in the sketches, but it's still a very nice touch to have this little upswing right at the end of the design. Looking at it from a straight rear view in a sketch, you can still see it right here, beautifully done, and you can see just how planted this is, with the wheels being the furthest object that is in the side of the car, making it look like a sumo wrestler from a straight rear view like this. I love these analog sketches from way back before we had, before everything was digitalized. I still prefer these analog sketches because it shows the artistic feel, the vibe of the designer. And that's the reason why I prefer the 2012 RS5. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.